G'day, welcome along to Homebrew Wednesday, or should we say Miners Stout Wednesday. Here's the tasting, so let's get into it. We'll pour a pint. I've already done this video, but my voice was out of sync to the thing, so never mind, we'll do it again. I just kegged it yesterday, so the big pour. See how I did that? Didn't even spill a drop. Look at that. So this is the Miners Stout. I can't move around too much. I've got my water to go on the boil to brew my next brew. But anyway, it's going to come up to colour very shortly. As you guys will know, I have a 20, 80 mix of CO2 and nitrogen. So 20% nitrogen, 80% CO2. Gives me a nice finish to my beer. So let's just talk about this for a minute. So what happened was, so I had, so this is it here, the Miners Stout from Black Rock. So it ended up coming in at 3.5%, and I was a bit surprised at that. However, doing a bit of reading on the can, what it said was if I was to use another malt or a brew enhancer, basically it said, then I was going to get a final gravity of 1012. So I started off at 1040. And I thought I'd use too much water, but as it turns out, I did my calculations. I said I did last time I used too much water, but I've done my calculations and I was okay. So I've ended up with a 3.5% beer. Now, it also says on the can that if I was to use cane sugar, I'd end up with a final gravity of 1006, which is normal for cane sugar, I would imagine, because it's pretty much totally fermentable. Well, I think it is totally fermentable, I have to say. So then, if I'd used cane sugar, I would have ended up with a beer of 4.5%. So if you're going to make this beer, you'll have to decide what you want. Personally, I would not use cane sugar. I would probably, if I was to do it again, I would probably use the can, a brew enhancer, and maybe some golden syrup or a half kg of dried malt extract. That's what I would use. Or some dextrose, maybe half a kg of dextrose. So anyway, what we've got here is basically a very dark, mild, and it's a Miners Stout. So you can imagine miners working all day and they want to have a refreshing drink. They would come out of the mines and they want to wet their whistle, which would be covered in just coal dust everywhere. You know, it's a tough job. By geez, a tough job, hard job. But anyway, someone's got to do it. So my mate Don's Beer Reviews, he was a miner. So let's have a look what we got. We've got a nice sort of off-white head. As I say, it was only kegged yesterday. There's not much aroma to it, actually. Let's have a taste. Let's go straight in. I've done this before. I know what it tastes like. So it's got quite a thin body, as I'd expect from a 3.5% beer. Slight chocolate, slight coffee. A bitterness that's up front on the top of the palate, which is actually quite a nice. It's a nice drink for 3.5%. It's yeah, it's good. It's really good. If you're after a beer that's sort of 5%, you're going to be disappointed. Obviously, it's 3.5%, so you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to add some stuff to it. As I said just before, I hope I said it in this one, not my last video. So it's very nice. I'm going away for a week, so so when I come back, hopefully it's rounded off a bit more, but still very, very nice. Now, my next beer that I'm going to be making is from Mangrove Jack's Tyneside Brown Ale. Now I have it on good authority. Both these extracts are made at the same factory. And also you see this here that's got the can, it's got the tear top. Love it. Makes it so much easier and less messy. And the new one here is the same. So they've been made in the same factory with the same equipment and whatnot. So I expect the quality to be just as good as this beer here. Pardon me, a bit of gas going on. So with this one here, with this beer, what I did was as you know, I used I did a starter with the yeast, and it took off like a rocket. And there's nothing, in my opinion, it's only an opinion. The kit yeast, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's S33. I'll have to double check that. Yeah, I think it's S33, which is safe ale yeast. It's very robust. So I've actually saved the yeast from when I kegged it. I just wanted to show you guys this. So what I did, because I know there's a few people out there that are kind of keen to sort of start reusing the yeast. And the only reason that you really want to use your yeast is it's not really sort of to save money. It's just it's still good yeast. And I go for 5 or 6 generations. But you see here, so what I did was after I kegged the beer, in the bottom of the fermenter, there was all the trub and yeast, and there was a little bit of beer left on the top. So I just tipped that beer out of the fermenter and just tipped it out into outside, and then I swirled the trub around, and I just poured it into this sanitized jar, and then I put it in the fridge. And what's happened overnight is it's separated. Right, that's all trub and yeast there, spent yeast, trub, and there's this beer at the top. So what I'm going to do is, after I've done this video, I'm going to tip this beer out that's on the top, and then I'll leave it here to sort of come up to room temperature, and it will, and then I'll just pitch all that in, the whole lot. So that yeast should be really, really good. So what I won't do is leave it out here while I'm talking, because as it comes up to temperature, this trub and yeast will start to fall back into suspension and get mixed up in the beer, and then it's going to be awkward to put it in without that beer going in as well. So I'll put it back in the fridge, and then once I've tipped this top beer out, then I'll leave it to warm up. Away you go on, both of you, go on, away you go. Oh, Baxter, away you go. Been annoying me a bit today. Lick my fingers and everything. I give him a bit of a what's going on there, Dad? Oh, don't like you licking my bloody fingers all the time. So this is the next beer I've got. I'm about to start brewing it. I've also going to put in, so with that beer there's going to be some brew enhanced. So this one is number 72, which is a brown ale enhancer. But I'm also going to put in 3 jars of honey. This is honeydew honey, made locally. So that I just got gifted these little. So there's about 480 grams, so nearly half a kg. Stoney from Stoneyard Vineyard was did a brown honey ale the other week. So I thought, oh yeah, I might as well use that, because if you remember, I was going to do the Wigram Brewery honey ale, and I haven't been doing any all grain beer until spring, summertime. So I might throw this into this brown ale and see what happens there. So that's it from me. Oh, apart from, I've got here, I finished this, so I put some polyurethane on that. I'll be doing that shortly and put that on the wall. It was a bit of fun. Save all those really nice caps, Iron Maiden albums and whatnot. Something to do. And also, I still haven't got any ink. I ran out of ink for the plaque of fame. But the next 2 beers And the next two, no beers, the next two channels that are going to go on there is the Beer Man of America and Hef's Beer Reviews from Australia. So I'll get those guys printed off and put on there. Yeah, so I won't be here next week. I'm going away. So cheers. I think that's it from me. I hope you're enjoying your beer, enjoying your brewing. So cheers, guys. You take care. It's a good drop.